Welcome to the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Wes the Economist and Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist, coming to you live from the Wave Beach Realty Studios in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Call us today at 843-957-3872.
Happy New Year, and as we get the year started, let's get your financial picture in focus by getting a budget and getting those spending habits looked at. Reach out to me at coachwesc@gmail.com and we'll get you off to a good start.
Are you looking to buy a home in North or South Carolina? You need to reach out to Wave Beach Realty today. We are a family-owned company with over 10 years of experience in North and South Carolina and operate along the Grand Strand. Give us a call today at 843-957-3872. That's 843-957-3872. This segment is sponsored by Bobby Clary State Farm. Call 843-438-6000. Bobby Clary State Farm, here to help life go right. All right, guys, welcome back into the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Wes the Economist, and I'm Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist / Realtor. Episode 31. We are back at it, and today we are talking about the ban of red dyes in our food. And I don't know if it's just like a number, like red dye number 3 or 8.
I think it is 3. I know we've talked about it for like...
Yeah, and I know this comes in kind of into the same context of our last episode when it comes to banning things.
Yep.
I know you're well, actually, let's...
No, you can go first. I went first last time.
Okay.
How do you feel about the ban?
One of the reasons I actually, in the, early on in the election when RFK was running as an independent, one of the reasons I literally said I was going to vote for him, and I even donated a little bit to his campaign. I don't know if I ever told you that. Nothing crazy, but I threw a little bit of money. He sent me a T-shirt. It was pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
I wore it when I went and voted for Trump, actually. And I know that you're not supposed to, but he wasn't running at that point, so they couldn't be like, "Oh, you have one of the candidates." Like, well, not anymore. So anyway,
but he was firmly behind Trump at that point.
At that point, he was firmly behind Trump, but it is what it is. But I got pretty good reactions actually on that T-shirt when I was in line. Okay. Yeah, people were like, "Oh, I kind of like him." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "I bet you didn't when he was independent." But anyway, so one of the reasons I was behind him is because I know that what he says he's done a lot of research, and I know he even wrote a book about Dr. Fauci that I'd need to read. I'd got to read that book.
Yeah.
But where he stands on vaccines and reading the studies and being careful about what we put into our bodies, whether it's food or anything the FDA approves, because they're so corrupt. Oh, that's going to get us demonetized. I like him.
Fortunately, we're not monetized yet. Basically.
Yeah, we're not even monetized. You can't demonetize me. I don't have any money. So I am for banning red dyes because the government has known since the 80s that it's cancer causing. They put it in our Fruit Loops and whatever to make kids like it or to make food look better. It has no value whatsoever outside of just turning food a certain color to make it more appealing. I think that's a silly reason to use a chemical that can literally kill people to make a profit. So for this instance, and because other countries have banned this is one of those instances where I'm like, okay, if the government steps in and says I can't put this poison in our food, and a lot of people aren't going to take the time to read the ingredients and study all the dyes and stuff that's in our food, and they trust that what they're eating is at least somewhat decent. In this instance, I'm okay banning certain chemicals that have no nutritional value whatsoever and are only made to market products and make them look better with the sacrifice of potentially giving people cancer.
Gotcha.
So I am okay with government interference in this scenario because it doesn't negatively affect anything but the color of my Cheerios.
Hope your Cheerios not red, but okay,
well,
I understand.
I know I was being kind of sarcastic, but
Apple Jacks,
yeah,
little red dots in it.
Yes.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. The point is well made. I just still fall back though on where does it stop? I'd rather see information given to the buyers, which obviously it has been.
Yeah.
The problem is most people when people start talking about that, you know what they call them.
What?
Conspiracy theorist.
Well, science has proven that this causes cancer. It's not. You can't theorize this. So, I guess my point is, you shouldn't knowingly. I think it's criminal to knowingly put ingredients in food that kill people.
So, if it is science and it's known, then why haven't we seen lawsuits?
I don't think most people know that it caused cancer.
But it only takes that one person and one lawyer to make a...
well, you might see some now that it's coming out that they're actively saying, yeah, we had to ban this because we know it causes cancer now. But I don't know, the FDA and the pharmaceutical, they're all like almost.
Oh yeah,
you get good luck having enough money to fight them.
My first thought is the law probably says, I don't know this. Somebody knows, right? And tell us. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, well, why has it? If this is so scientifically proven, why have we not seen lawsuits of people who got cancer from it?
Because you probably can't prove that it came from it directly. How do you prove directly that you didn't? Well, you can prove that it causes cancer, like a mass exposure to it. But how does somebody prove, like, I've been eating Fruit Loops for 70 years?
Mass exposure. That's an interesting take. So what did they do?
To
prove that it had cancer? It wasn't like saccharin, was it? And then where they fed a 5 pound, a 4 pound, or 3 pound mouse, they gave them a pound of saccharin a day, and it caused cancer.
So it was found in the 80s to cause cancer in mice. I don't know what the amounts were. I haven't read the full study. Now,
the whole thing,
right? But at the same time, if it has no nutritional value, it shouldn't be in food, in my opinion. Now, there's like things like fats and stuff that you eat too much of, and they're bad for you. But overall, fat's good for you. Carbs, to a certain extent, are good for you. Cholesterol is good for all these things. Are part of a daily diet. Now you have to balance those and know what your body intake should be, but you need 0% of artificial dyes.
Yeah.
So I just think if it adds no nutritional value and it's only an aesthetic that it's adding, it's like just putting a little drop of rat poison in your food every day. It's just but most people don't know that, and there should at least be a warning label on your box saying this contains red dyes that are cancer causing.
I'd be okay with that. Giving out for a free market to work. If you want to have a free market, you got to have perfect information. And so if people don't have the information, I'm okay with the government making sure they have that information.
Right.
I'm okay with my money going to that. I guess my issue, like I said before, is just when you have the government stepping in and saying what you can and cannot do.
Right.
And if it is, and putting that warning label out, and making sure the law doesn't protect these companies. Because one of the things I'm thinking about the law is if it's FDA approved to use, you can't sue. And if that's the case, then we need to get away from that. I mean, if you got something that's caused you problems, you should be able to sue for it no matter what. It's kind of like the COVID vaccine.
That should go away. The same thing with the pharmaceutical companies. Exactly. They're immune to prosecution. That should all go away. That's not fair.
All go away.
If you make a medicine and you've tested it and it's known to cause issues and somehow you've paid the FDA off, well, that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but if it gets passed by the FDA because it does all these great things and then it starts killing people, to just say, well, we ran tests and it didn't kill these mice. We're immune from prosecution. We were just trying to help, and just be able to walk away. And that's crazy to me. That's you literally, because then it just leads the way for you to do whatever you want. Then you just have all power. You have all, which I think the pharmaceutical industry is the most powerful in this country anyway. I don't think there's anybody.
That's one thing I hope Robert Kennedy will do away with when he gets into his position. Is I've heard that he wants to make it where they cannot advertise on TV.
Correct.
Which I'm okay with that, even though that's kind of going against free market a little bit, except that you cannot give enough information in a commercial on a medicine to allow somebody to make a informed opinion.
Correct.
So
we're one of only 2 countries that do that.
Yeah, if you can't advertise it and give all the information, then it should be advertised. Yeah. I don't see commercials for cigarettes anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it used to be you did. I mean, back before my time.
I used to see them all the time.
Before my time, there was a commercial I saw on YouTube, and I'd heard people talk about where the surgeon steps out of the surgery and lights up a cigarette and says, "This is how I relax after a surgery."
Yeah. So, all right. So you actually made a good example there without even like not intentionally. So to like kind of play devil's advocate against my own thing. So let's say people knew red dye caused cancer the same way they know cigarettes cause cancer, and they still wanted to eat red dye. Fine, eat red dye. What my point is, the cigarettes cause every chemical that's in those cigarettes, and like the tobacco itself causes cancer. A lot of the stuff that's in that is just natural occurring. What's in tobacco? I think they add some stuff in there that probably doesn't. I think, no offense to anybody listening or watching, I think it's one of the most disgusting habits in the world. Yeah, agreed.
I can't stand it. However, I'm not the one to tell somebody he can't do it. But I also think, I mean, you have people 100, 120 years old that have smoked all their life and never had cancer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the tobacco as much as it is
Smoke
the
inhalation.
stuff they put into the stuff to make you get more addicted, which I think
it could
also
be
not
that.
be allowed.
I think smoke inhalation over time causes cancer too. I think it's just the damage you're doing to your lungs cause lesions, and those lesions can become I think that's a big part of it too. So the problem I have with smoking is smoking around people who don't smoke and don't want cancer.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to smoke, get like it should be banned in like any public setting and inside of any buildings. I think like now if you're like in a like park stuff like that, I feel like it should be banned. Now if you're walking outside your house and you want to smoke, whatever, but like when you're in like mass gatherings and people that don't want to breathe in the carcinogens that you're blowing out, I think
that's pretty much gone, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, most places you can. I think they've making the right steps. Now these vapes and everything everybody are using, I think, are going to be just as bad when the long term side effects come out.
Everybody says, "Oh, vapes, you can't smell it. You can't." It's disgusting. I do smell it.
It's a different smell, but yeah,
it's still disgusting. I mean, it's
it's. I think the long term.
Sorry if you vape. I'm just
the long term effects on that are going to be just as bad, if not worse.
I think so too.
They just haven't done enough study. Vaping's only been around for maybe 10 years now. I mean, if that.
Probably along with it. Well, I don't know the difference between vaping and what came out in 1990s. I don't understand the technology differences in them.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But like mass vaping, where people are doing it enough where you could start studying it, probably around 2010, 12.
See, I don't understand vape. I got students in school that vape.
They all vape
inside.
Yeah,
but there's no water vapor coming out. I don't. It's like you're taking a hit of something.
I don't understand the science behind it, which is another reason I would never put it in my body.
Yeah,
because I don't understand it, and I don't think there's enough studies. And you can tell me the FDA approved it all you want, but I have about as much faith that I do in the FDA as I do of. I don't have any faith.
I don't have FDA at all.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in the FDA.
And no offense to Kennedy, I'm not going to have any faith after he gets there either. I mean, there's no way you can clean that place out in 4 years. You can turn the thing right way.
I think you can turn the page, but you can't fix it in 4 years. You can't fix anything in this country in 4 years.
No. And that's kind of the problem behind Trump. I mean, I know he tried so well to get everything done before he got in office, but I mean, I don't think there was any confirmations this week. I mean, the Democrats are trying to make sure
delay everything they can.
Everything they can.
Yeah, make it as difficult as possible, which you would think to some extent they'd want to work together to like at least make the country a little bit. It's like not about that at all, though. It's just about like my team lost. Yeah, you're just going to make it difficult on you. You know, it's like, okay, well, thanks for helping the American people. Let us just take the hit while you guys battle it back and forth, because now you're not able to money launder and inside trade as much as you were.
Right,
and
exactly.
Walk out. We walk in with a net worth of $800,000 and walk out with a net worth of $800 million. Tell me, you're not that good of an investor, Obama.
There was something on. I think it was Jennings again on CNN. He's just, I don't know why they keep him around, because he just keeps eating their lunch. Yeah. And the lady was trying to bring up something about all these billionaires, the rich people running the country, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, my issue is like with Sanders and Biden. And they kind of look at him like, they worked in government all their life. How'd they get rich?
Right.
Of course, they didn't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Elon Musk, who innovated entrepreneur,
immigrated first.
Immigrated, yeah. And then Trump, who built, they say, it was given to him. He wasn't given.
He got $1 million loan from his dad.
And he lost, at some point along the way, he lost all that because he cleared bankruptcy how many times? 2 or 3 times?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I could probably go out and raise enough money for somebody to give me $1 million loan if I really want to go out there and beat that, because I know a lot of investors and stuff. Now, I could screw that up and the $1 million could be gone next month, or I could invest it in real estate and become a multi-millionaire or whatever.
Yeah.
But people say it like they just, his dad gave him money, and it's like you don't build the empire he built. Nobody knew who his dad was. No. I think his dad did own like one small hotel, which is still a great thing.
Oh, yeah.
But his dad was not anywhere near a billionaire.
No.
So you don't take $1 million, $2 million, and turn it to $1 billion, and it just be luck. That's just not how that works.
So do you think? This obviously was done before Kennedy got there. This red dye.
Well, because they're trying to walk the line and cut it. See, they knew this should have been, but that's what bothers me. They knew this was a problem. Yeah. They were like, this dude's going to come here. It's going to be the first thing he talks about.
They know there's so many other things problems.
They have all the studies.
Why are they waiting?
Well, it's like a virtue signal type of, look at us, all right, we're going to go ahead and play ball. It's just like rubbing elbows and trying to get back in. It's just it's a joke. When life gets unpredictable, turn to a partner you can trust. At Bobby Clary State Farm, we've got you covered. Whether it's home, auto, or life insurance, we're dedicated to providing personalized coverage that fits your needs. With our friendly and knowledgeable team, navigating your insurance options have never been easier. Visit BobbyClary.com or call 843-438-6000. Bobby Clary State Farm, here to help life go right. Are you looking to buy a property in North or South Carolina and need financing assistance? Give Motto Mortgage Coastal Pros a call today. We specialize in residential loans in both North and South Carolina and can meet all your residential home loan needs. Give us a call today at 843-957-3872. That's 843-957-3872.
If you like the economics part of the show, then check out my podcast, Econ Sense. You can find it on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts.
You're listening to the Dollars and Cents Radio Show with Jonathan Edmond and Wes the Economist. Don't forget to send us your topics and feedback at dollarscentsgs@gmail.com.
This segment brought to you by Eisenhower Dental. Reach out to them at 843-234-3110. So what do you think is next? What else do you think is bad? I know you studied some of this stuff. I haven't looked at it. I don't know much about it.
I think a lot of the food dyes, like the yellow dyes, are really bad for you. Mm-hmm. I know when I was growing up, I would drink Sundrop, and I went to the doctor one time, and I used to have pretty bad acne. Not like horrible, but it was bad enough that I wanted to go to the doctor and try to figure out how to get rid of it. And they're like, the first thing you got to stop doing is drinking Sundrops and Mountain Dews. Those yellow dyes are so bad for you and the skin and everything. Yeah. And that was just, and if they're doing that, though, and you're getting a reaction like that, I think there's a lot of other chemicals and stuff that need to be banned. I think there's I think the way we ultra process food, I think there needs to be at least more disclosure on how bad that stuff really is, and I think there needs to be more disclosure. Everybody thinks like fat and cholesterol and all these things are the enemy. From everything I've read and everything I've studied, the worst thing you can put in your body is sugars and artificial sugars, and I think more emphasis needs to be made on how bad sugar is for you and not how bad fat, because fat, your body needs fat, your body needs cholesterol, but your body needs 0% sugar.
I've heard a lot of experts say that sugar itself is not bad for you.
Well, if you're maybe raw cane sugar.
Well, again, natural sugar.
Right.
That body actually can process natural sugar.
But the preservatives and the stuff that they're putting in our candies and our sweets and
well, that's not cane sugar. That's not regular sugar.
No, but most stuff doesn't.
Drink my Diet Coke.
Yeah, well, that aspartame is worse for you than just drinking a regular Coke.
Yeah, I know.
That should be banned. Aspartame should be banned.
Aspartame. Yeah. I don't know if aspartame. It's not in this one. It's in Diet Pepsi, isn't it?
You sure?
I don't know.
Read your ingredients off right now.
Aspartame. Yep.
That's a bad one. Yep.
It's got water in it though.
Yeah,
it's carbonated.
Yeah, it's got yeah.
Contains I thought it said formaldehyde.
Is it flavonoids or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. But the amount of sugar that they put in those, not that, but like regular Coke, like 30, 40 grams. Have you ever seen what that looks like on like a table?
Mm-mm.
It would almost feels like once you mix it with it dilutes, but if you like pilled half that bottle would be full of sugar, like not if it was a Coke.
Well, I read, and I don't know if this is true or not, and again, this bothers me because it's the government telling somebody to do it, but one thing said he was going to make Coca-Cola put sugar in their Coke skin instead of
real cane sugar.
Yeah, instead of the other.
Yeah. Now again, I'm not for making it, but they should at least have warnings or something, or just full disclosure.
I am good.
Full like disclosure. Saying, hey, aspartame in Diet Coke is worse than the sugar in regular Coke. If you drink this, your cancer risk rises.
Yeah, well,
that should be on the bottle.
And I am good with that because a free market economy again. Here's my economist coming back out. Yeah. A free market economy. If you want to have the best markets, that means everybody has to have full information.
Yes, so disclosure is the number one word here. Yeah,
I would love to see more disclosure on everything.
In my business, the number one rule is disclosure, where everything we know about a property, everything how we get paid, everything in my business is. I live in the world of disclosure. So to me, disclosure is the most important thing. If you're fine smoking cigarettes, knowing they cause cancer, or if you're fine eating bad food, knowing that it's going to give you heart disease, fine. It's your right to do that. If you don't want to live a healthy, that's fine.
That's my argument. As long as I'm all for the government giving us more information. I mean, I don't want to making up information like we've done in the past. They've done that too.
Yep.
But giving us the information and letting us decide. That's the whole thing of a free market.
I guess my thing with the dyes, going back to since I know this is supposed to be about the red dye banning.
Since when do we stay on one topic?
We never do. Fun. We never do.
It's the fun part of it.
We weave. The one thing about the red dye is like those red ingredients that they put in like Fruit Loops or whatever. I can't remember what all it's in. That's just like the easiest example.
Yeah.
A lot of those things are geared towards children. So I think when it comes to the dyes that makes food look more bright and look better, a lot of it's geared towards kids. I feel like that's my problem, where I could feel like, okay, certain dyes like that we know are really bad that make food look more appealing, and kids are like, oh, mommy, I want Fruit Loops. Knowing that like that's kids going to be ingesting things that are going to affect them later in life, I feel like that's where the government could step in, and that would be a decent reason, in my opinion, to be like, all right, let's get rid of these dyes and find an alternative if we want Fruit Loops to be red.
Now, if that was the argument,
that's part of my argument.
Yeah, that would be something I could come to the table on and talk about, and maybe give in on my anti-government stepping in.
Yeah.
But in general, I'll always hold the line that I don't want government telling people what to do. Now, again, I do think government's there to correct what we call market failures. We call it a market failure, and a market failure would be any time all the information is not given in the market.
Right.
And so, if we need to get more information into the market, I'm all for that.
Yeah. I definitely think that.
And that, as you said, that's just not food.
Right.
I mean, our drugs.
See, it's people just, and I think like when you go see like you have doctors that like specialize, like, oh, I'm going to go see my podiatrist, he's a foot doctor. I feel like a lot of these, and I know this is I'm going to get some shit for this. Just people that are just MDs that work at like doctor's care, they're just like a general practice. There's no way they can know everything about every drug because they don't specialize in anything. They just show up. They tell you what's wrong with you. They check a few vitals. Oh yeah, you've got this probably. They give you some drug, and then they have drug reps that go around and say, "Hey, this is the new drug we put out. We'll send you on a vacation to Hawaii," because I don't think they can give direct.
Well, as I said, my wife just informed me they can no longer give kickbacks.
Good. They shouldn't have ever been able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. They should never have gotten any money for prescribing.
Like, hey, push this, and we'll send you to Iceland.
I don't think they should do that either. They shouldn't be able to give me anything.
They were doing that. If they banned that, that's even better.
I don't know if they banned that incentives, but I know the kickback money.
But there should be no incentive to get somebody on drugs. There should be no incentive.
Now, the doctors at Doctors Care, the general med people, I actually like dealing with them better if there are the type that don't have an ego. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a big thing in.
I've got a PA. I've got a PA right now. I've looked for doctor after doctor after doctor, and every one of them's kind of like they walk in, they look at the computer screen. Yep. Oh, you got this? Let me give you this medicine. Yep. I don't want any medicine. I want to talk about the cause of this. What can I do to fix it?
And what causes it? So I know what. I don't need you to. I don't need you to Band-Aid it. I
finally found a PA who's willing to do that with me.
That's great.
And he doesn't know. He doesn't. He'll just say, "I'm not familiar with that." That's okay. Well, help me as I research.
Yeah.
He wanted to put me on some medicine for a condition I've got. And we went back and forth about 6 months.
Yeah.
And taking tests and all that kind of thing. And finally I said, okay, I'm ready to try it. I'm bad enough now. It's as Dan Bongino says, it's gotten bad enough. I'm going to try it. So I went on this medicine. I started having all these side effects. Well, I had researched the medicine. I knew about them.
Yeah.
So when I got the upset stomach and I had some other issues, I was monitoring it and like wasn't getting terrible. But so when I went back to him like 2 months later, I said, well, I went through all the side effects. And I said, what do you mean? So I actually got to teach him. And so next day he put somebody on it. He admitted, he says, well, I've always had people come to me already on it. I've never put somebody on it. You're the first person I've ever put on it.
Yeah.
But the point was his ego was not so up there that he wasn't willing to listen. And he actually went and pulled me stuff off his database and gave me to read.
Right.
Because he could tell I really wanted to know more about it.
Yeah.
So he literally went to the doctor database to give me stuff to read. Yeah. Those I'm great with.
Right.
But even I've been to some specialists that are kind of the same way, that they come in, they look at the screen, and they write you a prescription, they want to be with you.
Yeah.
And I found a couple now that are not like that, but it's so hard to find it. And you know how medical care is around here. It's hard to get in to see anybody anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's when it comes back to the dyes and the stuff that we need banned. Like if I will go to the doctor and I'm like, hey, this is what I've been eating, and these are the ingredients in my food. I wish that more doctors were like, okay, these things you need to avoid because this causes inflammation, this causes this dye causes this. Like their studies are out there, and I feel like the doctors who are professionals, I know you can't read every study and know every single thing, but like if you just listen to RFK rattle off the stuff he knows just about vaccines and medicines and the way they're approved by the FDA and how the tests go, it's like he's not the smartest man in the world, and he knows more than most doctors I've talked to, and people are like, oh, well, he's not a doctor. It's like, but he reads the studies that scientists do that send these medicines out that the doctors prescribe. So in my eyes, he knows a lot more than a lot of the doctors I've ever met. And so, unfortunately, without a doctor,
which is, again, I don't blame I blame some doctors for that. Some doctors are
some doctors are great. Most doctors probably are.
A lot of doctors, they don't have the time because they're in a system that wants them to see 30 to 40 patients a day.
And they're in a system that promotes income and turning them and burning them over actually curing the patient. Because if you cure the patient, they don't come back.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
And even the doctors who want to cure patients, they're in a system that doesn't allow them.
Doesn't allow it, yep. And there's been a couple doctors who have stopped practicing that are on a couple podcasts. Casey and Callie Means, their brother and sister, both MDs, and they both stopped because they were like, all we're taught to do is do surgeries and cut you open and send you home, and not how to cure whatever you're actually dealing with. And that's a problem. Like the training and everything comes back to like, all right, this, you do this, you charge that, you bill the insurance this way, this is how you make the money, send them home, this is how you treat it. It's like, I'm tired, I don't want to treat people, I want to heal people. Yeah. And at a certain point, it's like, you got healthcare, you shouldn't even call that healthcare. It's like temporary treatment is what it should be called. And, to be one of the most sophisticated countries in the world, whether we're not going that way now, but you would think our healthcare system would, put a little bit more emphasis. I mean, there's plenty of money to be made. You would think they'd put a little bit more emphasis on actually getting people better, so you don't have to keep going to the doctor all the time. It just blows my mind, and that's why I guess I'm so against the stuff they put in our food, because the research isn't out there, or if it is, it's hidden. Like the FDA shouldn't have been sitting on this research since the 80s if they knew this. Like. Now they're like saying, "Oh, this is why we banned it." It's like, okay, well, you should have been letting people know about this even before you banned it. You knew it was, and you approved it. You approved a cancer-causing ingredient that had no benefit to put in foods because it made it look better. Yeah. And you said you saw no issue with that before you approved it. But half of my vitamins I take can't get FDA approval. Like, it's
stuff that's going to help you.
Right. It's like, you'll never have to take insulin if you take these vitamins. Why would we approve that? So anyway, there's my frustration for the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's across the board. I think we hit several things there that we just need to. We need more information in the market.
Yeah, so we can't more information,
because if we allow government to dictate what can and cannot be used, then we're back to trusting the government, and we see how that's gone in so many other areas.
Yeah, it never works. They're never here. They're never here to actually make anything better. And even the ones that have the intent to, it just never works out that way because of politics and everything, and money and power and everything else gets in the way of that. The one thing about Trump, I will say, is that he doesn't need money. He doesn't care about money. He's had all the money and power in the world. He's built some of the most impressive buildings in the most expensive city in the country to live in. Yeah. Which, I was going to say no, L.A. was, but maybe it isn't now. Maybe New York just took that back over, unfortunately. Really. No, not trying to take a jab at L.A. I'm not a fan of California, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But, so maybe things will change. Maybe I'm trying to be optimistic. It's gotten so bad, and I feel like at least the puzzle pieces are coming into place to at least alleviate some of it.
I definitely think we've got to point, and I think the mindset of the people, the populace, has changed.
I think so.
Our media hasn't changed. Our elites haven't changed. They're still doing things the old way, just like it's never going to, like it's 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah. But I think once more and more get voted out, and more people lose their jobs from these large companies because they're not making any money, things will start to change.
Yeah. I think people are becoming more aware. They're not listening to the mainstream media as much. They're listening to like podcasts and where experts are going on there and talking about real issues. And I think as people wake up and are becoming more aware, people are going to be more vocal, and that's when change can actually happen, when the people actually speak up. Because like the red dye stuff, and like me and you having these conversations, if I'd have been talking about this 10 years ago, they'd definitely like, oh yeah, some dye is causing people to get cancer, you conspiracy theorist, you're a psychopath. And now it's like, well, I don't look so stupid now, do I, Fruit Loops?
And
I'm going to get sued by Fruit Loops if we ever get a lot of followers. General Mills is coming after me,
and
baby.
I think COVID had a lot to do with it. I mean, the whole mindset of people starting to question this stuff.
Oh, that doesn't cause you to question.
I still meet people who cannot believe I didn't get vaccinated, and how dare I not get the booster shot. There's still people out there like that.
There's still people in New York, half of New York, still walking around with a mask on. Yeah. When I was up there.
Really? When you were up there?
Oh, not half. Half is being. I saw a lot more masks than enough to be noticeable. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyway, I digress.
Well, as the new administration takes hold, I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about, because I think a lot of these different areas are going to hit: healthcare, medicine, foods, car industry. I don't know if we've ever talked about the car industry and what's been done to it by the politicians. I mean,
we'll have to jump. We'll have to have an episode about that. Yeah.
We pay so much more for a car than we have to. And a lot of cars that I see around the world, I was just in New Zealand, I saw some neat cars. In Nicaragua, I see some really cool trucks and all that aren't allowed to be sold here. Yeah. Perfectly safe for other countries, but not here. Right. Because they can't pass our CAFE standards. Right. Or they can't pass our safety.
Yeah. Or our stupid emission standards that don't matter whatsoever.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Out of all the countries, if you look at our carbon footprint, we have done so much better than anybody else of reducing it. Yeah. But yet we're still the bad guy.
Yeah. Oh, we'll always be the bad guy on that. Yeah. And other countries are like, yes, thank God that they play that stupid game and act like the emissions are really going to cut down and like they're actually doing something while we go over here and do, or just running regulation free, doing whatever we want. And that's why we're getting bypassed.
Yeah. So, we're going to close this one out, I guess.
Yeah, we'll wrap this up.
But one of the Bessett, the one that's going to be over, what's he over? He had his confirmation hearing, and he just, I forget which senator was talking to him, but he was, talking down to him about this clean energy race. We're in the clean energy race with China.
Yep.
And he says, let's get one thing straight. We're not in a clean energy race with China.
Right.
We are in an energy race with China.
Right.
China will open up 30 new coal plants this year.
Yeah, they'll
open up another 10 nuclear plants this year. We're not in a clean.
Right.
He just ate him for lunch.
Yeah. It's crazy. Anyway, well, we'll wrap this one up. I think I'm going to get murdered in my sleep by Tony the Tiger tonight. But other than that,
well, he doesn't have red dye.
No, it's Frosted Flakes, just 10,000 grams of sugar. Yeah, still Kellogg's. Anyway, Captain Crunch is going to hunt me down. They're going to all come after me.
And tricks are not just for kids anymore.
The leprechaun's going to bite my ankle from Lucky Charms. They're all coming for me. They're after me, Lucky Charms. All right. Anyway, we're going to get we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Eisenhower Dental, located at 107 Waccamaw Medical Park Drive in Conway, a place where you can find all your dental services, including general dentistry, cosmetic, restorative, and pediatric dentistry. Reach out to them today at their website, eisenhowerdental.com, or call them at 843-234-3110, 843-234-3110, and tell them Wes the Economist sent you.
Thanks for listening to the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist and Wes the Economist. Don't forget to send us your topics and give us feedback at dollarscentsgs@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and X at dollarscentsgs. You can follow us on Facebook at Dollars and Cents. Listen to us on the podcast format at Dollars and Cents Podcast, and you can also find us on YouTube at the Dollars and Cents Podcast. Are you looking to buy a home in North or South Carolina? You need to reach out to Wave Beach Realty today. We are a family-owned company with over 10 years of experience in North and South Carolina and operate along the Grand Strand. Give us a call today at 843-957-3872. That's 843-957-3872.
The holidays are almost here, so it's time to get your financial picture wrapped up so you can have a great Christmas and a happy new year. Reach out to me at coachwestc@gmail.com to get some financial coaching.